Well, guys, we're back. Three Dudes of Horror. I'm Wormboy.
Damien.
And Toots.
And just to let you all know, and I know I need to say this, I really don't like dolls. So they terrify me.
I don't think a lot of people do.
And I don't know, I just don't like them. And I vaguely remember this movie, not because, well, I guess I'll admit it. I was scared. So to me, the movie's been really, really creepy, and I've only watched it I think once, and that's it. And I've been encouraged to see it again, just to see how shitty it is, according to a lot of people. But to me, the last thing I remember was like it just terrified me because I'm already scared of dolls, so I didn't really pay attention to everything else, like the acting and all that. Yeah. I don't like dolls.
All right, you feel better now?
Yeah, yeah, it's out of my chest now, guys.
All right, it's out of your chest now. Okay. Sorry. No, I saw this movie one time and it was at the theater, and I thought it was okay. I didn't think it was terrible, but at the same time, I thought that, I was thinking The Conjuring is so much better than this. Because it did have some of those hokey jump scares, and then the one that I was really like, really, did you have to go there, was where the priest gets possessed a little bit, and he's just like, rah, like that, like he turns around and like you obviously know something's wrong with him.
Yeah, but
it's so cliche, and I think what's actually, for me, what's scary, other than a few minutes in the movie, especially when, if I remember correctly, it's something with the elevator.
Yeah.
And then I've heard how something ties into like Insidious or something. I can't remember. Like I said, I've only seen this one time. But for me, what I find scary is the actual story behind Annabelle. Without what the Warrens investigated. To me,
the original story.
Yeah, like the actual investigation of it. To me, that was scary.
You know what? That reminds me. I was actually looking that over because someone at work didn't believe me that the original doll was, Raggedy Ann.
Yeah.
And, she was like gung-ho about like, no, it's not, because she has one, and she's like, no, she didn't want to believe it. But I think if they would have used Raggedy Ann, I think I would have been even more terrified in the movie. I don't know.
Because it looks more innocent.
Mm-hmm.
And... the doll looks creepy. The doll, like the Hollywood version of Annabelle, looks creepy, and that was the point of it.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that the real story, the real investigation of it from the Warrens, and that's what I think was really missing from this movie. Like, that you got to deal with the characters more so, and the fact that the Warrens weren't in it. It was just a spin-off. I think to me that's what. Had made the movie suffer a little bit.
Who's the one that directed this movie again? It wasn't James Wan, right?
No.
You think that had something to do with it too?
I don't know. Damien, what do you think?
Well, that brings me to a big point that I was going to make about this movie. This movie was actually directed by the director of photography for The Conjuring, which is... usually the guy that James Wan prefers as his director of cinematography or photography.
Mm-hmm.
Annabelle, which came out in 2014, is the second movie in the now established Conjuring universe, because now it's officially been called the Conjuring universe. But Annabelle was actually directed by John Robert Leonetti, who I was hoping that you didn't know this.
Oh, no. That name sounds familiar.
Wait a minute.
He actually directed Mortal Kombat
Annihilation.
Oh my god,
yeah.
really?
Mortal Kombat Annihilation.
Once you mentioned Leonetti, I'm like,
oh man.
No. I was thinking like, oh no. I know who that is.
And he was also the director of photography for the first Mortal Kombat.
That one's good though.
So but he didn't direct it.
Oh.
Yeah,
so maybe he should just stick to photography instead of directing.
Yeah, yeah. Once you mentioned that name, I was like, yeah, it's Mortal Kombat Annihilation, or as I call it, Annihilation.
Maybe what would be cool is for them to like put him in the Mortal Kombat game and you kick his ass, stick it out.
Take your brain out of him.
You know, like here's Leonetti or whatever the fuck his name is. You know,
he did what he could with what he had, but I mean, no, but like the one thing that I'm very wary of now, especially watching horror movies over the years, and even action movies to a certain extent, is the fact whenever you see from the producers of. They're producers, unless they're actually directing it or writing it,
unless
or both.
They've got some sort of creative input in the movie.
All producers do, from my understanding, is they just hire the people and they get everything together. That's it.
They don't direct.
So you could say from the producer of...
They finance the project. That's
Pretty
all
much,
they do.
Yeah.
You could have a horror movie and say from the producer of Babe, Pig in the City, and... You know, and then...
You know what? I probably watched that.
Yeah, I mean, it could be a producer...
I like Babe.
Or producers of whatever movie.
Yeah.
But the fact they're just producers. Unless it's the director and, you know...
Yeah, but they just do it. I mean, of course, everybody knows they do it just so they can get, oh, wow, really? Oh, they produced it?
Yeah, the makers of this. Well, there's a lot of makers that go into it.
Yeah.
You know, unless it's the director and or the writers, okay, I can put a little more stock into it. But over the years, once you see it from the producers up, we're like, okay, well, who cares? You know, it depends on who's directing it, depends on who's writing
it. And then as a child, I remember like seeing that in movies. I'm like, oh, well, this must be good. And then I was just disappointed.
Yeah, that's why.
But as a kid, you don't know any better, you know. But now growing up, which I'd like to think I'm grown up now, because I still hate watching movies that have to do with dolls. I mean... Not just this one. What was the other one with Dead Silence? Like I fucking hate that movie too.
I actually like Dead Silence.
It's a good movie, yeah, but I hate it because it scares the shit out of me. I'm just sorry, guys. I really hate dolls.
Well, the reason that we're reviewing the first Annabelle movie tonight is in anticipation of Annabelle Creation, which we will do a review as soon as we see that movie. But we're not reviewing it because it's like one of the great horror movies of our time, or it's destined to become a great horror classic. It's just this is the first movie that is, you know, centered on the Annabelle doll that came out. So the movie itself, as I said, it was the second movie in the Conjuring universe, and it's sort of built on the premise of, you know, certain religious factions or religious groups or spiritual groups have used dolls all throughout history as a conduit to summon or, you know, inhabit spirits, ghosts, entities, demons, what, you know, etc. And there's even some words at the beginning of the movie to sort of like, you know, state that from the very beginning. I couldn't think of a word.
You mean to like set up the atmosphere?
Yeah. There's some words that the movie starts with, some words on screen that kind of like go right into that.
Yeah, but like I said before, what I find scary is not so much the movie but the investigation behind it. Yeah. And pretty much what happened was, if I remember correctly, there was these college students, or at least like nursing students, that find this doll, and then they invite this psychic medium to show up because strange things started happening, and the medium's like, well, it's the spirit of a little girl that's possessing the doll, and she wants to know if you'll be willing to let it stay, and of course they take pity on it, so they say yes, and then but it's really a demon, and then that's when they call the Warrens in, and that's where at the beginning of the first Conjuring movie you see the part of that investigation, and what
that's right, I remember that.
And what they don't talk about in The Conjuring or in Annabelle is that the boyfriend of one of the students would always get bitten and attacked, and like while he's asleep, like this demon will come and attack him.
Oh wow!
You know, because the boyfriend just didn't like the doll in the first place. And the dolls are, in real life, the doll is a regular Raggedy Ann doll. Well, not regular; it's possessed, but you know what I'm talking about.
I mean, I saw like I said, I saw the pictures today. I didn't want to see them, but I wanted to prove a point to one of my friends from work, and it was just. I mean, I see the older lady with it, and it looks creepy, and the lady smiling like normal, but the dolls, I just don't like it.
Yeah, and the way the doll was placed in at the end of The Conjuring, like in that case.
Yeah. Like do not open.
Well, not the end of the. Well, not the.
Say? Like don't open or.
Well, not the end of the movie. Like I guess in between or close to the beginning.
Yeah.
Like the way they have it in that display case is how it is in real life. Like they have a sign like do not touch the.
Yeah, and it has a cross
case.
Above it too.
Yeah.
Man, fuck that! I wouldn't go there.
Yeah, and but I found that portion of it interesting. I found that portion intriguing. But the movie itself, you really don't relate to the characters that much. This movie was just more just about the doll, as opposed to the people revolved around the doll. Yeah, at least in my opinion.
It may have been more of a cash grab also.
Yeah,
I think it was a filler.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I don't blame them. They had just done The Conjuring, and like you said, Damon, it's a cash grab.
Well, I mean, as I said, like the whole movie is built on the premise of demons or entities, apparitions, etc., whatever, being a conduit, a doll being a conduit for them to enter our world. Entities that have never existed in the flesh. And the movie itself, Annabelle, like just as a movie, it had some good things about it. Like I felt like it did recreate, because the movie itself is about the events prior to the events in The Conjuring with the Annabelle doll. So it's technically a prequel to The Conjuring. And I thought that one thing I thought that was good that I can give it credit for is it did sort of recreate that, mid to late 60s vibe, like with the wardrobe, and they had all the cars, and they kind of hit it like nail on the head though. There's one scene at the beginning of the movie where the couple's actually watching a newsreel about the Manson family.
Mm-hmm.
So they were really using that to like really put it in, get the atmosphere, the late 60s atmosphere, the helter skelter atmosphere, into like put the audience in that atmosphere. But it's hard to get behind the main characters in the movie, because like they do a lot of things that just aren't very smart. Like it's hard to, and there's another character that comes in later in the movie, like towards the second half, that I thought was written very, like it just seemed too convenient for that person to be there with the knowledge and the qualifications that they had and the motivation that they had to get involved. But like for example, it's the main tension in the movie, it starts with the young couple, the main characters. They live next door to like a middle-aged couple, and they witness them getting attacked next door. Like they hear a loud scream, and they hear all the lights go out in their house. So the husband actually, instead of like calling the police, he decides to go over there himself into their house and leave his pregnant wife alone in their house.
Yeah, it's stupid shit like that.
Yeah, so that scene escalates, and then you find out that the middle-aged couple next door has a daughter that joined a cult, which is very much, similar to the Manson family. And her new, like, whacked out husband show up to murder her parents, which they do, which is the middle-aged couple next door. And then they attack the main characters in their house, and they end up getting killed by the police, the cult members, and that's how the Annabelle doll gets involved, because the daughter's name is Annabelle, and she ends up, you know, committing suicide and bleeding into the Annabelle doll. So now she's possessing the doll, or an entity is possessing,
or feeding the entity or something like that.
But that was another issue with the movie, because you're never sure. Okay, is Annabelle the woman possessing the doll, or is there an entity possessing the doll? Like, it's never really clear.
But that's the thing, though. The only information we have to go on is what the Warrens mentioned at the beginning of The Conjuring, where this little girl that supposedly possessed the doll, referred to herself as Annabelle. Or at least that's how the real story goes, from what I've read, and that's when Lorraine Warren mentions that, like, well, demons don't possess, things, objects. They possess people, But that's
right.
but most of that information is already kind of summed up at the beginning of The Conjuring. So all this other stuff that's happening, it's like, okay, what does this have to do with?
Yeah, it's like, forget about what happened there. Like,
yeah,
we're just gonna make up our own on this side,
Yeah, and I know hindsight is 20/20, but I really think if they were gonna make the Annabelle movie, they really should have started with Creation. They really should have started with that one.
They should have just used James Wan.
Or they should have just had their own Conjuring movie based on the case.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, with Annabelle, another problem that I had with the movie is there's way too many exposition scenes with too many characters. There's exposition. There's three,
exposition dumps.
There's three distinct exposition scenes with three different characters. There's the police detective that is investigating that cult that killed the neighbors and attacked the main characters. There's another exposition scene with the character I mentioned earlier that I felt was just written poorly. And then there's another exposition scene with the priest.
Mm-hmm.
So I just felt like there was too much exposition in the movie. And to the point where it confuses the audience. You're not sure of, what exactly is going on with the Annabelle doll.
Yeah, and to be fair, exposition is one of the hardest things you can do in terms of storytelling, because you have to do it in such a way that you don't have to, and it's easier said than done, I'm not doing it justice just
right.
Explaining it, but it's one of those things where you have to tell the audience the information, but without either spoon feeding them or having them sit down and lecturing them. It's one of those things where you have to do it in such a subtle way where the audience doesn't really think about it.
Well, and I guess the criticism on the exposition scenes I guess that would go to the writers.
Yeah,
that would go to the writers more than the actors or the director. But and as I said, it's hard to get behind the main characters because they continue to do things that just no one would do. Right after they're attacked in their house, after the neighbors are killed, the wife is pregnant and she's stabbed
mm-hmm.
by the cult members, but the baby's fine and she's fine. It's a flesh wound.
Mm-hmm.
So, and keep in mind, they're aware that these were cult members that did this, that were related to the neighbors. It was the neighbor's daughter. So obviously this was planned, and this was not random. This was a specific target. It was her parents.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously there's other cult members. There's other cult members.
Yeah.
And so they have to know that those cult members know where they are.
Yeah, it's just dumb.
And then, but right after that, the husband, who's a doctor, leaves for a conference
mm-hmm.
for a weekend or something, And he leaves his pregnant wife that just got attacked by this cult and knows where
By
they
herself.
live by herself.
Yeah.
Like, and it's just kind of like, and at the beginning of another thing,
Maybe he was involved, you know?
at the beginning,
No,
at the
I'm
beginning of
joking.
the movie, they're coming home from church, and they have like this little semi-confrontation on the porch because the husband didn't lock the front door.
Yeah.
Not really a confrontation, but just like.
But they
she-
shouldn't have to fucking go through that, you know?
No, but she's telling him. She just kind of tells him, "Well, you know, we moved to California now. You got to remember to start locking the door." And he's like, "All right, cool." Like he's like, "Yeah, that's fine." And then later, after they were attacked in their home, when his pregnant wife was stabbed,
Yeah.
he forgets to lock the door again. She has to remind him to lock the door, and it's just like no, you know. If it were me, I would have like 10 bolt locks on that door, you know, after something that traumatic happened.
And maybe he just didn't give a shit about her, you know? He's like, yeah, whatever.
Trying to collect the insurance money.
Hey.
There you go.
You don't know.
No, but I'm sure.
No, I know, but it's a movie that you should at least fucking fix that, you know?
Well, there was a different time then. I'm not defending what he did
No, but I mean,
But
I'm
who-
saying like
But it doesn't make sense. No one would do that in the right mind.
because I'm sure somebody at some
mentally
point.
unstable. or
it's
something.
just hard to get behind the characters
Yeah.
when they go through something that traumatic and there's continuing.
They're
to do
just very
things like that.
robotic.
Yeah. Yeah, the fact. Yeah, after that, yeah, that's just stupidity on his part.
But
You know, but I was gonna say maybe at some point, you know, maybe at that time or earlier, there was a time where we didn't have to lock our doors because we trusted everybody, and then after a while, all that shit started going down.
Yeah.
Okay,
But I mean,
we gotta
this
close
is
the doors.
after 2 cult members
Yeah, that's-
entered
Yeah, but
their
then-
home,
Yeah, that's why.
attacked his pregnant wife, and stabbed her.
maybe he was part of the cult.
No,
No,
but
I'm
that's-
just-
We will never know.
No. I'm just saying for the, just for the sign of the, just for the sign of the times. Maybe that's kind of how it was, and then that's when
What?
maybe these Manson
what year
murders
was
started
this?
happening.
it's
was-
like late 60s. It's during the whole.
You were born there, you know?
No, I was not.
It's during the whole era of the Manson family. Like they're
Yeah.
actually.
Oh,
So it was late
Yeah.
60s. It was late 60s. But
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Maybe, the sign of the times, or the spirit of the times was, well, back in those days, we didn't necessarily need to lock our doors.
Yeah, people trust.
People trusted each other
Which,
more. So,
but they emphasized it at the beginning of the movie.
yeah,
That-
and then
they even had where she's like, "Well, you need to lock the door." He's like, "Yeah, okay."
yeah, that's why. Like once these Manson murders happen, and then like this cult is going around, that's when, like, okay, everybody has to start locking their doors, and maybe the husband wasn't used to that. I'm not defending what he did. After those attacks, he should have
But
known better.
the point is just that like it's hard to get behind the main characters with stuff like that. Like the audience now is kind of like, you're not emotionally invested.
Yeah, that's what, like, especially nowadays where everybody
So
locks.
what do
their
you
doors.
guys give it overall? Like, if you had to give it a
I mean, there honestly there were scary moments in the movie. Like the biggest scare was they ruined it in the trailer, where after they move out of that house, eventually it's like one of the rare like intelligent things that they do in the movie, and the wife sees like the incarnation of Annabelle run through the bedroom door and come running at her like. That, and then there was that elevator scene that was really scary when the wife's going down into the storage area at the apartment building that they move into. Like, and as I said, like some of the production value I thought was actually good. Like they actually, in my opinion, I'm sure someone will disagree with me. Like that they actually produced that whole that late '60s atmosphere. Like so. But I mean, the highest I'll give it is like a C. Like I thought the characters were really poorly written by comparison to The Conjuring.
Yeah, I give it like a D plus to a C minus. Yeah, I thought it was okay, but there was a lot of things wrong with the movie. So that goes to show you, kids, lock your doors.
To me, I'll give it a B minus because, I mean, it's a doll and I don't like dolls. So it still creeps me out. Like I'm not gonna watch it.
Well, like I said, the highest I'll give it is a C. Like
God,
excuse
I thought it was
us.
a doll.
Like I'll probably give it like
did you guys play a joke on me?
I'll probably give it like a C minus because as I said, like well, yeah.
And the trailer for the creation, I thought it looks really good, and
this
I think it's actually gonna be good.
Like I said, I'm still kind of wary about the whole, from the producers of or what have you.
Oh yeah, but come on, give it a shot.
Well,
I mean, well, yeah, but
Yeah, we have to.
I'm still gonna check it out.
Well, but with Annabelle creation, from seeing the trailer, we just watched the final trailer for the movie. It comes out in a couple of weeks. The movie's directed by David F. Sandberg, who directed Lights Out.
That's a good movie.
That I thought was good.
I haven't seen that movie.
It's fucked up,
Well,
dude.
He directed a short that got famous on the internet, which is basically the same premise of the movie Lights Out.
Mm-hmm.
And based on that short, he was given a full fleshed out movie by the studio.
Yeah, I really like the movie.
So he actually wrote it and directed it, and it's good. This movie's getting good reviews from the critics that I've seen so far.
Which one? Lights Out?
Annabelle Creation.
Oh.
So, and it stars Lulu Wilson, the little girl from Ouija: Origin of Evil, who could potentially become a new Scream Queen. I don't know. I
haven't seen the Ouija movie, so.
Well, but
Me either.
she did very well in Ouija: Origin of Evil. So, but it looks like she's not the main character in the movie. Of course, I don't know, but the movie takes place like in an orphanage that looks like it's out in the country.
Yeah.
Which I love that setting for. And I know that's one of the tropes and cliches from hell and horror movies, like the old creepy house in the middle of nowhere, but it's because it works.
Yeah.
It's good. True. It's because it works and it's good, so it has that going for it.
And it has your favorite doll, Worm Boy.
Yeah. That's why I'm going to see it.
To me, it looks good. I'm anticipating it.
Yeah, you guys gonna have to drag me in.
All right. Well, we'll sedate you and then.
Yeah, and then
we'll wake you up before the.
And like I said, having David F. Sandberg at the helm couldn't be a bad thing. So.
Is that the guy from Andy Samberg, right? No, I'm joking.
At least he didn't direct Mortal Kombat Annihilation, so that's good.
I don't know. It looks good, but of course, looks can be deceiving.
But that's to come. We'll review that as soon as we see it when it comes out in a few weeks.
Yeah, I will give it that the trailer looks good. So I'm still gonna check it out.
Yeah,
we're still gonna check it out. But like I said, whenever it says from the producers of, I'm still wary about things like that.
Yeah, so I guess that'll wrap this episode up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Worm Boy.
I'm Damien.
And I'm Toots.
See you guys next time. Hopefully we'll have more material for y'all.
Yeah. And look forward to our review of Annabelle Creation.
Yeah, and then we'll see if Damien and I can find a doll for
Nah, fuck that.
Because you're for Worm Boy, you're gonna have to sleep at.
You know what? I'm gonna get a tarantula for you, Damien, because I know you're scared of tarantulas.
Yeah, I never said I was in on this.
And Toots,
I never claimed to be in on this.
I'm gonna get a picture of yourself.
Yeah, that'll scare me. Yeah.
All right, guys. We'll see y'all next time.
All right. See you
later.